Paul in Romans, and ultimately a new book, John. Today's scriptures provide rich imagery or suggestions of the same to express the forms our recreation may take. In Genesis, the call to be born again is the call to leave everything familiar and begin a new life in an unknown land far away. This is no pilgrimage. On a pilgrimage, one sets out to a new place or a holy place to learn something and return where one came from with some new insight for living back home. Abram's is to be a permanent relocation, something far more like the experience of the millions since Abram who have immigrated to other countries, including the vast majority of the population of the current United States, or at least their ancestors.
Romans remind us of what may have become known as an old Protestant saw. We are justified by faith and not by works, even as Abraham's faith was reckoned to him as righteousness. As Protestants and evangelicals, we may come to this text with blinders about its meaning. Indeed, they may have become so familiar that we can hardly hear its actual message at all. Paul offers all of us, if we will truly hear him, a powerful critique of the way even many of us live our lives with God and each other. Do we treat our relationships with God as something we earn by what we do, being good, or at least not being bad, on the basis of some checklists of good or bad behavior? Do we ultimately measure our relationships with God using some career ladder or success chart? Have we reduced a life of discipleship to Jesus, to morality and status instead of actual faithfulness, to trust and follow wherever he leads every day? How about our relationships with each other? Do we approach others as those to whom God has also offered justification by faith? Or do we expect them to prove themselves to us by their works and or their status before we embrace and support them as God has embraced and supported us? Or have we gone not Gnostic and decided we're in because we have the right knowledge, intellectual assent to the right doctrines? All of these miss the biblical understanding of faith, and all of these are dead-end paths. None lead to life. It's time for rebirth. Faith in Scripture never means mere assent to an idea. Faith means placing one's complete trust in one, being followed and therefore following where that way leads. That's why James could write, faith without work is dead, without all contradicting what Paul was teaching to the Christians in Rome. Abram was reckoned righteous, not because he was good or not bad, or because he was successful, or because he had the right ideas. He was reckoned righteous because he trusted God enough to keep going where God led him, even when that meant a long journey for him and his families to start over in an unknown land far away. That's faith.
John 3 is likewise a very familiar text, or at least parts of it are. Look to this text this week for its many images of how God saves us. The Spirit blows like a wind. We are reborn of water and Spirit in baptism, an image that speaks strongly of God as birthing mother and font as both bath and womb water. Why rebirth or being born again in King James and more recent evangelical language, or new birth as John Wesley called it, is that really necessary? Yes, it is, and it is also God's gracious offer to us through baptism by water and the Holy Spirit, John 3-5. Nicodemus, however, could not understand what Jesus meant by his talk of new birth. So Jesus changed metaphors. He spoke of the story of the bronze serpent recounted in Numbers 19. In that story, God had appointed fiery serpents to attack and destroy the Israelites for their slanderous words against Moses and the God he proclaimed. But with the attack, God also provided a remedy. Those who would look to a bronze serpent lifted up on a pole and ask for God's healing could be spared. This required three things: an acknowledgement of the connection between their own sin and its consequences. They were the reasons the serpents were there doing what they were doing. That they were powerless to save themselves, and trust that God, through Moses, would save them in this way. When we observe Jesus lifted up on a crucifix, recognize that our sin put him there, and seek God's mercy to deliver us from such sin. We too can glimpse something of God's saving deliverance from the serpent, from sin and death. To be sure, as the rest of the story of the bronze serpent reminds, we are not called to worship the cross or any images of it. The bronze serpent, which had been a source of deliverance in the story, later became a stumbling block when it became a focal point of worship, and incense was offered to it as if it were a divinity. 2 Kings 18 records how Hezekiah destroyed it in obedience to God's command for that reason. The serpent itself was not powerful, nor is the cross itself. God's salvation, even with such cruel instruments, is powerful, and only God's name is to be praised. There are few things that match the joy of unexpectedly discovering something good. Whether it's discovering money on the ground or learning a new concept in class, joy floods our hearts when we find something good that we didn't expect to find. Unfortunately, unexpected is not the word most people would use to describe our church services. Instead, words such as predictable and routine characterize our congregations. Few people seem to discover anything new unexpectedly in our services. This is why Paul's comments about the unexpected joy of forgiveness in Romans 4:1-5 and 13-17 are so encouraging. Here, Paul identifies Abraham as someone who unexpectedly discovers the joy of forgiveness. The story of Abraham is one well known to church goers and the students of the Bible. We all know how the story ends. For Abraham, the one living the story, each twist and turn was unexpected. To Abraham and his family, life probably seemed more serpentine than a direct path.
Discovering righteousness by faith. Romans 4:1-5. As Paul tells Abraham's story, he relies heavily on the Genesis narrative, especially chapters 12 and 15. In his lifetime, as Paul tells Abraham's story, he relies heavily on In his lifetime, Abraham unexpectedly discovers that one is made right with God on the basis of faith rather than the basis of human efforts. For Paul, the proof of this comes from Genesis 15-6, which says Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. This act of God occurred prior to Abraham's circumcision, which formed the seal of his covenant relationship with God. Prior to the covenant being sealed by circumcision, God sealed Abraham as righteous. Abraham's standing with God came on the basis of faith. There's nothing that could have prepared Abraham for this experience. The reality of what we now call justification by faith is something that we can only be divine by revelation. There's nothing in the world or in our minds to prepare us for faith, for this truth. Everything in our experience tells us that people earn other people's favor. Gifts come by merit. Frequently we stereotype Old Testament figures as languishing under the legalistic burden of the law. However, Paul describes King David as discovering the joy of forgiveness in verses 6-8. The example of David reminds us that righteousness always has come by faith. This was true prior to God giving the law, as evidence in Abraham, after the law, as evidenced by David, and since Jesus comes. So long as we strive to earn merit with God, we find ourselves looking for wages from God rather than a gift from God. This struggle colors our entire relationship with God as we picture God as a boss and master rather than a father, lover, and friend. The unexpected joy of forgiveness frees us to see God more as he truly is. Wrath by law, Romans 4:13-17. A key question with which Paul struggled was, if righteousness always has come to people by faith, as it did for Abraham and for David, why did God give the law through Moses?